Son shit, y'all ready?
I hope y'all are. This episode, we going to Mexico. We talking about Mexico, like Mexico. That's it, like how they got their name. We ain't get real dope and deep into the, the super old schooliness of it, like the BC days before Christ or whatever. There's a new non-Christian way to say that. Before culture, before colonialism, I don't know. Colonization, who knows? But it's something like that, right? Anyway, before Christ, old school, grandma stuff. BC, but before Christ, alright, whatever. Before that, back in the day, because it was all here. Because you got, salute to all these new black people. I'm not saying new, but all you black people who have now found out that black people were in America far before the Europeans and the Spaniards got here. And you're like, yeah, we was always here, son. No doubt. That's not even the point. But now you got these dudes out here talking about America was really the first Africa. There was no Africa. It was always America first. Like the Garden of Eden is somewhere in America. You know who needs to be worried about y'all talking like this? Mormons. Y'all about to take over Mormonism. That's the whole backbone of Mormonism. The whole backbone is John Smith was like, yo, Jesus was like Garden of Eden is somewhere in Missouri, and Jesus, or what was Jesus born in Missouri? Something like that. Missouri is basically some haven of biblical excellence for John Smith and the Mormons. But it was all in America. The Bible takes place in America. Moses had the Red Sea that Moses parted is the Grand Canyon. All kind of wild stuff, B. It's weird. But I'm just saying. Y'all acting like Mormons right now. You know what I'm saying? For real. Fall back a little bit on that. But no, we ain't get into all that. We just got into the points of when the Spaniards came, and then they got this bright idea to go, yo, you know what? We've been here for a minute. We should be independent. We should have our own and come up with our own thing. I wonder where they got that from. Common sense, right? And that happens with everybody. That's the wild part. That's only people that didn't catch on to that vibe for whatever reason was Canada. But everybody else is like, yeah, man, we here. Y'all, we got this, man. Why don't we be ourselves? Yeah, call themselves Mexico. Boom, boom, boom. Things happen. That's what we talked about. Briefly. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the history is extensive. Like the joint is, yo. You know what I'm saying? So we kept it pushing. This is a time thing. You just can't expand on all that like that. You got a little cut to get it in and get it out. So we did that, and it was dope. You know what I'm saying? That's how that go. That's what this episode's about. Mexico. I don't know why I was about to say China. Mexico, because China, what does China do? China had black people too. There you go. I said it. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the Vikings, who also, as much as people love to talk about black people traveling, Vikings was out here traveling as well. That's how you got all these cats running around here, especially the red Garfield, you know what I'm saying, cats, the red joint, the red-haired cats, yeah. And that's how people traded. They trade like, yo, here, take some of these meow yowns and give me some of that good old stuff. What y'all got? Herbs, spices. What's that? A buffalo? We ain't never seen one of those where I'm from. Bring one of them joints. We gonna cut it up and take that with us and eat that and talk about buffaloes. Bring it. Mexicans, Spaniards brought the Mustang horses, because we gonna talk about that when the Native American joint jump off. We gotta talk about that. That's a whole nother lane for y'all. But anyway, this is about the Mexico being Mexico. Started out as Mexico City. Started out as new. Look, then y'all ain't gonna listen to the back half of the show. Anyway, dopeness, man. Salute. This is what we do. This is how we get down. Just vibing like that. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Jimmy Butler, who came out here looking like Jermaine Stewart for Media Day. Everybody out here like, man, he looked like Dre from 3 Stacks. Dre 3 Stacks. Hey, y'all video. Nah, B. Nah. He looked like, you don't have to take your clothes off to have a good time. If you don't know who I'm talking about, type in Jermaine Stewart. Rest in peace to Jermaine Stewart. And tell me them dudes don't look alike. Straight, just the same joint. Cause, and I remember when Snoop had his hair permed out with the bang over the eye. I had to tell a homie, I'm like, yo, nah, dude, that was a real thing. He's like, nah, dude, I think you're just making up stuff. And he had the Shirley Temple curls. I had to pull them pictures up. I had to pull them joints up and be like, yo, see? They're like, yo, that's why, like, how did I not know about this? It's one of them things, man. It was during the award show days when you had to watch award shows because hip hop was just ridiculous at award shows. We had no ethic code. There was no decorum at an award show when it came to hip hop, boy. We was just out here. Everybody loved to always talk about Suge Knight wilding out and Biggie going Brooklyn in the house and Dre from Outkast crying like the South got something to say. And Snoop going, New York ain't got no love for Death Row. But y'all ain't understand it. It has always been that way. The way when Tupac came out while Tribe was doing their acceptance speech, and then the Zulu Nation had to pull up and do some stuff. All of this. You had to be there to watch. You had to watch award shows because award shows was so wild back then. Anyway, this is what we do. This is how we get down. Thank y'all for rocking with us. I ain't really got too much to say other than, salute to Jimmy Butler doing his thing. Basketball season is coming closely upon us. Heads are getting trippy about what's going on with the Cincinnati. Not the Cincinnati. I was about to say the Cincinnati Reds. That baseball's over. Bad run for Cincinnati Reds. The Kansas City Chiefs. Dudes is out here bugging because these games are they're so fixed. And that's the thing though. The betting world is now invested into these sports things, so they're doing what they do. The NFL and the NBA are both in the same, and they're both in the same dilemma. They need eyes to justify these contracts with the television networks. They need the eyes to do it because both sports aren't really getting good viewership. So now you get the Taylor Swift crowd, the Swifties or whatever they call themselves. They're going to watch Kansas, but it's only one team. They're only watching one team. They're going to watch the Kansas City Chiefs play all the time. But it's like, okay, all right, cool, whatever. They ain't got nothing to do with the rest of the league. Kansas City now has to win all the time. Y'all saw some of them plays. I know y'all heard about them plays. Then you add on the betting. Because they're betting that this team's going to win. They're not only going to win, they're going to win by this much of a margin. That is now starting to come in play. People kicking field goals when the game is obviously over just to cover the spread. It's a wild joint, man. And the NBA is about to go through their thing. It's one of them joints. It's one of them things, man. Everybody is now trying to play into the game, and the NBA contract will be up in review, and they really need to do some stuff. ESPN is in jeopardy of being shut down in some form or fashion. Like here's the wild part. I don't know if y'all got Spectrum. If you have Spectrum, there was something where Spectrum was like, yo, we're not rocking with y'all. We're not rocking with Disney. We're not going to pay Disney. And they had no Disney Channel. Something happened, and then they paid Disney. Disney ran with them and gave them some money, and everything, all's well. But here's the problem. ESPN, outside of the morning shows, have no ratings. The theory was they were just going to try to make ESPN Plus just ESPN and just a streaming network. That was the thought. But now they got the cable deal back. They have to put it back because that's a major piece of the package. But it's still, the money ain't there. The viewership still isn't there. But that's your anchor. That's your mothership for Disney channels, because you got Freeform, multiple Disney joints here and there, a couple of other Disney things, and then there's the ESPN world, like all of them joints. ESPN and the ESPN College joint conferences, and the ESPN2, the ESPN Spanish, all that joint, ESPN Classic, All of these, which still is around, it's just not apparently part of the HD package. I realized. I didn't know that, but I found that out. This is what they're doing. ESPN is losing their money. And then they gotta, and Disney is losing money with these joints. And they're like, yo, so when this contract joint comes back around, do we really want to pay all this money out to broadcast these sports things when there's no money being made? There's no money being made, so what do we do? And there lies the thing. You lose the NBA, 3 things are going to happen. 1, all the talk about the NBA on these morning shows stops. Because one thing I've noticed is they only focus on the things that they can propel, that they seem to kind of have a hand in. You know what I'm saying? Stephen A. Smith isn't jumping on these baseball postseason things talking. You know what I'm saying? He's not one of the talking heads at the pre and post game of the baseball. So that's why he's not there. He showed up for NFL joints and he showed up for the NBA. He's not there for the hockey either. That's why they don't care really about hockey. You watch one of his shows, that's really it. All day. Football, basketball. Football, basketball. Every other sport is irrelevant. They don't care. You lose that basketball contract, they're going to stop talking about basketball. All of a sudden, those conversations about who's the greatest stop. All that, everything changes. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the major things that's going to happen when you lose that contract. Second major thing is going to happen. There's no need to view ESPN anyway. You know what I'm saying? ESPN has fell off. Like I said, outside of the morning debate shows, there's nothing else. Those NBA shows don't do it. Those NFL shows don't do it. I remember growing up, you watched ESPN after Sports Center on a Sunday all the way up till 12 o'clock when CBS Fox had their joint. Like, you watched them from, at one point they would just completely stop having ESPN about like 9, maybe 10, no later than 10. Actually, yeah, because 10 they do a show, 10:30 you had the sports reporters, then 11 they had their pregame, and their pregame would really just go into the actual games, and then they'd have their little thing where they're doing live highlights here and there. So if you didn't watch the game and you wanted the same thing the NFL Network is doing now, ESPN would do that with Bertman, right? Back. Like, matter of fact, my man used to do. He's the catchphrase king. He's one of the catchphrase kingpins for ESPN. The baseball joint, back, and it's gone. You know, all them joints. He was that dude for both of them. Same thing with baseball. He'd rock all day before the baseball games. But anyway, you lose all that viewership. All of that is gone. 3, more jobs have to be cut. More people have to be let go. You're not letting go of Stephen A. Smith. You're not letting go of my man McAfee, because they just paid him a gang of money, and Stephen Smith is the next popular and highest paid guy somewhere up in that little. If he's not the second, he's the third. He's definitely not the 4th or the 5th. So then you gotta, I mean, look, it's a downhill joint for them. I can't remember anybody even talking about ESPN for real. Outside of the talk show joints. And then Stephen A. Smith has a thing where he like, now I got a podcast. Which I've not heard it. I've seen clips of it where he looks like he's the slow jam man. He got the neon lights in the back. He got it kind of dark. He got the chair got a, what is it? Chair has a purplish color to it, and he's just maybe that was the outfit I've seen him in or whatever. But and he's talking somewhat normal at first. Then he gets loud, but you know, he starts out normal. I'm like, yo, what is this? This is wild, B. Like, come on, man, you tripping. But it is what it is, and they better do something, because these streaming services are looking to take over, and which they have to. Amazon does great with the NFL Thursday night games. They also do great with the baseball stuff that they show. Apple really messes a lot of baseball people up, because they're like, yo, not only do they get games in certain series, like oh my God, this is game 3 of a 1-1 series. I want to know who's going to win and take the tiebreaker. This could be part of getting into the playoffs. All that right there. I don't got Apple TV. So then Apple TV makes some people go, I guess I might want to get the Apple TV. From what I understand, Max is going to start having live games. And they're about to get the AEW thing. That's basically a challenge to Peacock with their live sports, as well as the WWE. Paramount Plus already plays any games that CBS has. They already play those live. So you're getting those anyway on that live stream. The game is open right now. The game is open right now. You're not going to get that on Disney Plus. You might as well make ESPN its own streaming service and then do that way and hope for the best. Hope that people will ride with you on Monday, because it was still a hard sell when they were like, yo, we're going to start putting Monday Night Football on ESPN. People forget them numbers didn't come around until those games got better and it became like, oh, you guys really went out your way to make sure that the best games of the season were on here. Because usually Monday night, it was like, yeah, it's main event, prime time, but it was one of those things like every team's going to have to play. So there were times where it was like suck teams was on there. You're like, yo, these dudes are garbage. They were competing with Sunday Night Football that NBC had, which was killing them. NBC's first couple of years of getting that joint back, their matchups were classic joints. Then you shifted everything from ABC to ESPN, which, by the way, is shifting back to ABC lately. No problem. Plus, Disney Plus is useless. That's a whole other thing too. I saw a bunch of Disney Plus shows that weren't, by the way, the Star Wars and Marvel. No, not the banger joints anyway. Not the banger Star Wars stuff and Marvel stuff on Hulu and actual ABC. Like ABC was actually playing Ms. Marvel. ABC has actually been playing a couple of joints. And you're like, yo, y'all really out here? I thought this was alright, because they need the eyes. They need the viewerships. It was like, yo, we done paid all this money. It cost this much to make these shows and ain't nobody watching them. They better watch these shows. Put these shows over here real quick. The game. And now everybody else is getting involved. And my thing is, I figure like this. The competition isn't Netflix, because Netflix is its own thing. You know what I'm saying? One day we got to talk about the streaming thing, because the streaming thing it's based on greed. Netflix is its own thing. Always has been, always will be. Hulu's owned by Disney for the most part, so it's basically a part of Disney, which is weird. But you know, whatever. Then there's Disney Plus, totally useless. Paramount Plus, the cable channel, gave the world Yellowstone. It did great. Paramount Plus was like, yo, boom, we're gonna take it from that and bring it to Paramount Plus. It was still killing it. Paramount Plus is on, like, Yellowstone is on its 6th season. It's killing it so dope that it's popping, but that's the only thing rocking over there. Paramount Plus is losing money, so they're like, yo, we're gonna take one of our most popular shows and give it to CBS, which I'm still trying to figure out, is it on CBS from the beginning, or is it one of those things where you're just supposed to catch up and be like, yo, season 5 or maybe season 6, voila. They did that. Like, and again, that goes back to the greed of not wanting to deal with Netflix, because Netflix was making shows popular. Netflix is why Breaking Bad is a phenomenon. The Office was a phenomenon. That's the joint. Y'all, look, nobody wanted to acknowledge it, so this is what you get. This is where you go. Now, when it comes to the big competition, the real competition for all of them is Max. Max is a hybrid of Netflix and the greedy companies. Because Max started out as HBO Go, and was always looking to be its own streaming service. Back in the day when it was in HBO Go, it was just, at that time, HBO was still part of whatever the Warner Brother cable company, so they had to fall back for a minute. Then it became HBO Now, where you didn't need to be subscribed to HBO to get that, which people bought and ran with it. I can just get HBO now and not have to worry about being an HBO subscriber. Cool, let's do that. Then it turned to the Max. And then it was like, yo, now that we're the Max, we're bringing our library over here with all this. We're bringing the stuff from other networks that are owned by us over here. We paid a lot of money to get that, what's the joint? The Big Bang Theory and a couple of other joints that do well for the network. Then they switched over and stopped being HBO Max, and then they were the Max because of the Discovery thing. And then Discovery was like, well, we already got a Discovery Plus, but we'll take our more popular joints and put them over there. Blew the game out the water even more. Then they talk about they're going to start doing live sports. That's where the competition is. That's where the real competition is. Yo, they about to take over. Like I said, Netflix ain't got nothing to worry about. Netflix is its own thing. Once Netflix goes, and we want to get into this live sports stuff and we want to do it, then maybe they'll start looking like that. Or we want to sell some of our shows off to cable. Because that's the other thing too. Disney Plus stuff, not so much of the major stuff, but Disney has stuff now going back to Netflix. The Max has stuff over there in Netflix, like Ballers and Insecure and all of that stuff that was HBO originals over there at Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Paramount is starting to throw a couple of joints back to Netflix. They need that money. Netflix is going to pay that money because Netflix knows one thing for sure. They get viewers all around the world. That's why I said we need to do a streaming joint. But anyway, Netflix is its own thing. Stop playing around. HBO Max is about to get into this game of live sports and all this and that. And when you do the live sports and you're the Max, first thing you're thinking of, NBA on TNT. That means you get the Charles Barkley. That means Charles Barkley. That means Shaq. That means Kenny. That means Ernie. Ooh, wait. That's a whole nother thing there. That's a whole nother. You're not beating that. They're going to get better games. They're also going to get that weird mid-season tournament. I think that's a TNT exclusive. I don't think ESPN is getting a hold of that. I think that is clearly a TNT thing. You're not beating them. You're not beating that out. And they're going to have it live on the Max. Oh my God. All the cable cutters, all the cord cutters are going to be like, oh, I can still watch that to see how much of a tobacco this is, because it's trash. That's just a goofy thing to do. Like, I personally think half of the stuff that Adam Silver makes up, he's not even making it up for viewerships or for the good of the game. He's probably getting a chunk of money on the back end of not EA Sports, 2K Sports. These are just new moves and new things for the 2K to make the players fans have to go get the newest game. Oh snap, they got the new jerseys with the logos on it. Oh snap, there's the whole play-in system. I can't keep out here playing just like my 2019 joint or my 2020 joint. They got the new play-in joints. I got to get this now. I got to go out here and rock that joint, because this is all post-COVID. So all my pre-COVID games are irrelevant. Forget that. I got to go get this joint now. Then they got the play-in tournament. Then they got the mid-season tournament. You got to get the new game. Crazy part with 2K is people don't even play those seasons. They spend more time developing their personal players and going to the park. Nobody's really playing the seasons. But anyway, that ain't what we had to talk about. I messed around and took a long road through all of this. Mexico is what we're talking about. Yeah. Say word. That's word, cause Sean don't give a what? Helter Skelter. For those who don't, rest in peace of Sean Price. I always got hip-hop. That's what we do, man. We give y'all that dope hip-hop. Salute! Matter of fact, while we out here saluting, salute the Sexy Red and Sukianas. I don't know. And salute to the people who keep trying to defend them. And I don't think people understand, like, nobody's hating on the content of their music. What people are hating is there's nothing opposite. There's no alternative. every female MC is making music the same way. And now they're the faces of it. And it's like, yo, it's just a wild, wild thing. And you're kind of waiting for their 15 minutes of fame to flicker out. But then when it flickers out, what happens is another group of females will probably take it to an even higher extreme. There was Nicki, then there was Cardi, there was, you know what I'm saying? Like Iggy Azalea and all of them came in. But we're talking Nicki, Cardi, Megan Thee Stallion. These two chicks, it's the next. I mean, because once you hit WAP, you thought WAP was it, and people go, yo, how y'all hating on these two broads, but y'all was like cool with WAP. Here's why. I'm not defending it. WAP is trash too. I'm just saying. The thing is, they were creative with it. There was some creative with it. There was wit. There was punchlines. You know, there was metaphors. These two broads are clearly like, if the dudes ain't licking my booty, they doing this and they swallowing that and you know what I mean? It's there's a song they got together. They're both by the time they get to the hook in the first verse, they both said lick my butt. Both individually 4 to 5 times themselves before they even got to the hook. It's almost like, yo, they have nothing else. There's no witty ways to say anything. They're not witty with it. They're not creative with it. It's blatant like, yeah, just do that. Do that. I'ma do this. Do that. Your man wanna do this. You do that. Don't get mad because your man over here trying to do this. And do that. Bring in the hook. Where all my... But salute to them because they are who they are. When you hear the stories of their life, this ain't a game. This is them. This is it. This is, to me, this is the equivalent of listen to people that tell you who they are. Listen to these broads. They're telling you who they are. This is them. This is not a game. This ain't one of those, ooh, they are plant. They're not a plant. They are part of the process. They are openly, genuinely who they say they are on these records. The problem is more people want to be like them. This is where we have went, and we've been like orchestrating this for over a decade, and it's the product. These young women are like in their early 20s. Early 20s. It's 2023. The game of being overtly sexual, that didn't sound like I said it right. Sexual comes in 08, really takes flight 09, takes orbit by 2010. They're in their 20s. That means they're a product of that. That means not only were they a product of that, listening to it and watching it, they went out and tried to do it. They went out and did it. They became that because that's what they were being told females should do, whether it was by dudes or fellow females. You can hate the music, but you can't hate them because they are truly a product of their environment. This is what they grew up. This is how they grew up. And nobody told them to not do that because most of the time, we are no longer a diverse community where you had your thugs, you had your Christians, you had your Islams, you had your 5%ers, you had the OGs, you had the OG pimps, you had the OG hustlers, you had the dudes who knew how to fight, you knew the dudes who didn't know how to fight, you knew how to shoot, you had the guys who knew how to just talk junk, you had the chicks who looked sexy but never really did nothing. Those were the teasers. You had the chicks who weren't sexy and did everything. You had the chicks who were actually sexy and doing everything. You're like, good Lord, when am I gonna get my turn? You had the chicks who were the church girls who were freaky. You had the chicks who were the church girls who didn't do anything. You had the chicks you thought were doing something that weren't doing nothing at all. You had the brainy brides who was freaky but nobody knew that. You had the brainy brides who were asexual. We had a cast of people. The guys who talked junk and you never saw them fight because they couldn't fight. End of the day, they never fought. They just talked tough. And because they looked a certain way or hung out with a certain group of people, you ran with it. You had guys who were real hustlers that you never knew were hustling until they got locked up. You had guys who were outright going, yeah, dog, look at me, blah, blah, but they really didn't have money because they was always scrambling. The game, it was multifaceted. There was people all over, had different joints all over the place. Now, it is clearly, you got a bunch of dudes who just got guns and is shooting recklessly at anything and everything. You got chicks who are just doing anybody and anywhere. And then you got everybody else. And then everybody else seems to not even be that diverse. It's just, And they're just like looking at all of this. Both sides on this side are looking at that side going, that's crazy, dog. This is wild. Why all these dudes got, like, who are y'all beefing with to have all these guns? Like, how did all you teenagers get all of these guns and you're literally just walking down the street and the police see that you have all these guns and nobody has said anything? Hey, look at all these chicks that are doing all of this stuff and nobody's worried about anything. There was a chick on social media. I don't know how old it is. I don't know how recent it is, but it pops up on my joint every once in a while. But she's like, yeah, you know, so-and-so, I gave him this too. I gave it to so-and-so too. I gave it to such and such. I gave it to such and such. We're the product of Maury's show. You are not the baby's father. And dude's doing backflips and spins and breakdancing, and the chick runs all the way to the back, and then Maury got to hunt her down and be like, it's okay, we'll find your baby daddy at some point. These are the products of that. These early 2000 joints, the 2010s, these are the product. This is it. This is what you get. That's why they got to rearrange the whole grading system, because what have they learned in school? Nothing. Nada. Not a thing. Nope. Anyway, back to Mexico. I just veered off again. Sorry, y'all. This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? Not Sukiana and Sexy Red. We ain't doing none of that. That's just, Which, by the way, I see some people say that they weren't even attractive. Does it matter? Have y'all ever stopped while y'all are out and about and looked at some of these people who are parents and went like, who and why? And then y'all brought somebody into this world. Oh, Lord. People don't care. People don't travel. They stay in a little cut. And that chick up the block is that chick up the block. That they don't, they don't know no better. People don't travel. You got to get outside your comfort zone and go somewhere. Because, Anyway, this is about Mexico. Thank y'all for rocking with me. East Coast, West Coast, worldwide, Lost Boys. Let's get into it, because before I say something crazy about something else, let's do what we do. Let's go. Let's try this again. Hey, live at the Oasis, man. I swear to God, it's like menstrual cycle type joints. Once a month, you can predict that this will happen. It's wild, but we live though. You know what I'm saying? This is how we get down. Word up, live at the Oasis, Legal Crime Radio. Ain't even gonna get into all that jump. We gonna just jump right back into the vibe like we was gonna do. We gonna so we gonna do it all like this, yo. Y'all heard about the joint. I ain't even, because what I was gonna talk about was the joint with Pac. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's crazy, because then I saw my man Vlad like, yo, I ain't cooperate with the cops. Dude, you always cooperate with the cops. Dudes is out here spilling their lives, confessing 100 things and plus some, and you be like, I ain't cooperating with the cops. You're putting the videos out, you know what I'm saying? But if my man had something to do with it, my man has been like out here talking to everybody too. Like you can go on YouTube and scroll and see tons of interviews with this dude, whether it's broken up into sections or whatever, man. Y'all need to stop snitching on yourselves, for real. Stop snitching on yourselves, man, for real. That's all I'm gonna say on that. That's just wild to me. But anyway, man, this is what we do, man. This is how we get down. Wild out, man. We just bugging. I'm like tripping. You know what I'm saying? we gonna keep it right there. We get back into this music joint. Before we go, cause might as well just do it like this, man. We gonna jump into the vibe like this, ride like this, hit them off one time. You get in live like this. It's like, take it from the top. We gonna take it from the top like this moment in Hispanic history. And you don't stop, and you don't quit. We like, yo, we gonna talk about Mexico, like Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Cause here's the wild joint. If you ever wondered, and I know people be like, nah, I ain't never really wondered, but I'm a different dude. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, how did Mexico get its name? What is Mexico? Now, Mexico basically means, you know what I'm saying? It's the thing basically saying the moon. It's the center. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about Mexico, you're talking about a place in the center of the moon. That's what the Aztecs, that's the Aztec reference. You know what I'm saying? Now the whole joint becomes like back in the day when they were still trying to get their thing together. They was like, yo, we gonna call ourselves Mexico after the joint, Mexico City. Because before it was called Mexico City, and slightly before, because we ain't going way back in the days of the Aztecs and all that, and the Olmecs and all that. We gonna keep it a little somewhat current. You know what I mean? It was called New Spain. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yo, when the Spaniards came over, it was like, yo, we gonna invade this joint and keep it popping. That was how they did it. They was like, yo, we're going to colonize this joint. When they came over in the 1500s, 1521, for 300 years, they called that joint New Spain. You know what I'm saying? Then they got their independence in 1821, and they called themselves the Spanish Empire. You know, from the Spanish Empire, they was like, yo, we want to be called the State of Mexico. Wild thing is, when you look at Mexico's history, it resembles America's joint. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, bring the beat back. You know what I'm saying? The state of Mexico, and there was many things. They went through many iterations through it, you know what I'm saying? And one thing that stayed true was the religion of Catholicism. They stayed Catholics, but they went through a whole bunch of joints. They ain't know what they wanted to do. They was out here wilding. They was every time you turned around, then they became the Mexico Empire. They was all kind of like, it was joints out here. They had mad different ways to do their thing. They came up with a Congress. They had political parties, and then it was like, okay, this ain't working. Then we're gonna try it this way. That ain't work. It was like, yo, and the whole era of what it was that they were trying to do when they was first getting their independence, it was like, yo, the people was doing their thing. Then they saw what happened, and they was like, yo, how we gonna do this? So they fell back for a minute. Then they had their conservatives. They had their liberals. And it was like, let's keep it again. Then they had the thing where they started kind of like figuring who would and who wouldn't represent, you know what I'm saying? Because they were still in the mix of, had their slaves, and they basically forced a lot of the people who were already indigenous to the land. Some people got down, other people didn't, you know what I'm saying? But it was just one of those joints. It was like, yo, they had mad joints jumping. So they get their independence. They fighting off this and that. They also had to fight off the Indians, because the Indians was out here like, yo, we want a lot of this. We ain't even gonna talk about the Texas joint. The San Antonio joint is a whole nother thing, man. That's just a whole nother lane. Doing the whole mix, it was just like, yo, I'm speeding through this because we're trying to get back to the music. But then they had the Mexican Revolution. And that joint, that was a whole decade long, like a decade long joint where they're like, yo, they were still trying to figure out where to go. You know what I'm saying? Now they battling the Native Americans, or, you know, who knows what they wanted to call them back then. But they out here rocking. They actually gave dudes names. Like Apache got his name thanks to the Mexicans, because the way he was rebelling against these joints. Like Geronimo became that guy. Like Geronimo wasn't even a name of endearment. It was like, yo, that was just one of them joints that they got into that joint. Now, the political party that took over, the PRI, that joint started out in 1920 all the way to the 2000s. So it basically held down a whole century for real. You know what I'm saying? Till my man came through and he locked that joint down, you know what I'm saying, when he came into it in 2001. The PRI lost the presidential election to Vincent Fox, who was part of a conservative National Action Party, the PAN, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, yo, this was just what we was doing. But the fact that, yo, they basically was like, yo, we got our independence, and they didn't know what to do. They was switching up the vibe here and there, and they came back around and was like, yo, let's do this, let's do that. But one thing for sure, they was like, yo, we don't want to get into being part of America. We don't want to do any of this other stuff. We want to gain our own democracy and do our own thing and get it popping our way. And it was dope, you know what I'm saying? So salute to New Spain that became Mexico and all that right there. You know how we do, man. It's wild. I gotta zoom through this right here because we're gonna try to get back into some music, man. My bad, y'all. The game crazy, you know what I'm saying? Menstrual cycle type joint. It was like, oh, it's that time of the month. I'm gonna freeze. And ain't nobody gonna tag me. Freeze tag type joints. Remember, freeze tag was the wildest. You knew who your friends was with freeze tag too. Like somebody freezing, you be watching people just run past like, hey, nah, you can't even talk, dog. And kept running like, yo, y'all so ignorant. I hate y'all so bad. You know what I'm saying? Then you had that one smart dude who was like, yo, in freeze tag in the summer, I give myself like a couple of minutes. I thawed a little bit and I broke my way out. I'm back, y'all. Like, no, that ain't how you play freeze tag. Forget y'all, because ain't nobody want to unfreeze me. Man, ain't nobody care about you for real, B. That's why your parents ain't around no more. Then he start crying. It's always one kid who parents left. Like, everybody know that one kid who parents just bounced. Like, and then he got to stay with somebody else. They ain't like, they dropped them off for the weekend and never came back. And you just be like, yo, dude, are you here for the summer? I don't know. My people say they coming through. School start. It's like, yo, what we doing? My grandmama got to transfer me to go to the school out here now. Oh, that's wild. Parents just was like, yo, we dropped him off and kept it pushing. They gone. Crazy thing is, they mess around and find out they got brothers and sisters because they parents done started a whole new family without son. It's wild, man. It's wild. Grandma be calling up, you gonna come get this boy? Y'all gonna pay me some money. Who I gotta talk to? Because I can't, look, the boy eating me out of house and home. He eating 8 times a day. He talking about he hungry again. Big old fat Albert boy. See? Just like everybody knew somebody who just parents just dropped them off and never came back. You know what I'm saying? Never came back. Mama just bloom. You be alright. I'll be back. That was the last thing. What was the last thing your mama said to you? She be back. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Just Facebook got them out here finding their mamas and stuff with whole new families, and they on the joint mad, putting all their business out there. I can't believe that my mother had a whole family, and she left me with my grandmother, who I found out wasn't even my grandmother. It was just Miss Ross from up the street. Crazy, man. Like, and you just thinking to yourself, and people giving pity. That's crazy, man. We grew up together, man. Well, thank God for Miss Ross. Yeah, thank God for Miss Ross. Back in the day when he was a kid, he hated Grandma Ross. He was always talking crazy about her house stink. It always smelled like menthols and peppermint. It had spiders all over the place, and the cat peed on his bed. Stupid stuff. But then, you know, he's like, thank God for Miss Ross. Like, dude, you was calling her grandmama since we was kids. Call her grandmama now. She ain't my grandmama for real, though. Life, man. Don't act like I'm the only person that know people like that. I knew like a gang of people like that. I mean, it was just a gang of just not good parents out there. And it's just wild when you go out here and start a whole new family. Like the first kid didn't like it was a trial. Like, this parenting thing might not be for me. Drop him off. Let's try it again. You think you ready this time? I think I'm ready this time. See, that's what's gonna happen when y'all stop abortion. It's gonna be a lot of Grandma Rosses running around here. Like, oh, just drop the baby off at the house. Like, can you watch my kid for 1 minute? Yeah. Years later, that's how that go. And then when he becomes successful, he putting that on 60 Minutes somewhere. Him and Oprah talking about that, and you know what I'm saying? Him and Yolanda, y'all they gotta give him a hug, and it's okay, baby. Don't worry about it. You somebody now. I know, making the ugly face cry. I know why. Snot bubbles is rocking. You just like, yo, my mans. And And then you, cause you know him, and you just like, yo, he was a thug. Look at him crying there. I just wanted to be loved. Slobbering everywhere. And she ain't even hugging him no more cause it's so ugly and wet. She just like, I know, baby. She done stood up and just tapped him on the shoulder, and she walks off, and then the cameraman just zooms in on him while he crying and cueing the sad music. Cut the commercial break, and when you cut the commercial break, what's the first thing you see? A couple with their kid for like Target or something. Like, hey, let's go to Target. Do. And my man just crying after the commercial break still. And they give you the recap. Anyway, man, let's get back into this music. I done put a whole life to somebody. There's a bunch of people I know like that. We ain't saying no names. Let's get into what we do. Get at me on Twitter. Blackseas, BLACK_CEEZ. Get at me on the gram. Y'all know who I am. Blackseas a son. BLACKCEEZARSONN. Facebook Live at the Oasis. Hitters.at is where the music is at. Mixcloud, SoundCloud, that too. I thought I was gonna do something, and then I lost it. Cause I'm still thinking about dudes just crying and stuff. And it's worse when it's chicks, cause then like they throw all kind of other things in it. And then Uncle Jerry used to touch on me, man. And then when you find out that ain't even your uncle, and he told you that as you was 17, he be like, you know, I ain't even your uncle. You about to be 18 in 2 weeks. Then what does that mean? I think I want you to be my woman. What? You raised me. I know, I raised you into a nice, beautiful woman, too. Look at you. We should be together. No, and then she got to run away. I know that took a dark turn, didn't it? Let's get into this music. My bad, y'all. Yes. That's my time. Hey, you know how we do, man. We was out here zoned out. A lot of blends, you know what I mean? Salute. When I set it off, I was like, yo, let me try to do the Stevie Wonder idea. Who knew that the game was all messed up from the beginning? But we here, though. We had a nice night, man. A lot of dope grooves, a lot of dope grooves. Sound like some old school dude, boy. Like, yo, that's a whole nother story for another time, man. Probably Wednesday when we talk about one of my OGs. I don't even like, it's so weird how that went down, too, because my man was like at least 40-something, and we was like in our teens. And it was just like, yo, he used to kick it with us like, yo, come here, youngins. Come here, let me holler at y'all, little youngins. Yo, get up off them streets, youngins. Used to always, he had I'm trying to think who he looked like. If y'all ever seen Willie Dynamite, the dude who it's a whole, we gonna tell that story Wednesday probably. But yo, my man was always out here and he'd be like, yo, I felt like him for a hot second, man. But anyway, it's that time of the night. I gotta give it a better. Yo. Anyway, it's that time of the night. I gotta get ready to get up out of here. No, we ain't ready yet. Hold on. So yeah, my bad, y'all. Live. It ain't even the equipment there. That was me personally. I don't know, man. But anyway, we out here zoned up. Let's do what we do. Hope y'all have a good night. I'm gonna holler at y'all Wednesday. We gonna have fun with that joint right there. So, how we do what we do. You know what time it is. Let me clear my throat. They say you only live once. That's a lie. You only die once. So anytime that your God allows you to get out here and continue your journey, please show the world the best version of you. No matter how many mistakes you make, still show them that who you is and whose you is. Y'all be safe. Peace.
This is a Soul of Art presentation.